Yo guys, Crescent here. Welcome to my Stamina Sorcerer build. Stamina Sorcerer is really weak this patch in my opinion, offensively and defensively. But in non-CP campaign, I still think it's decent even with everybody running slots. This build is kind of like a anti-meta build. It's kind of like to counter the slot meta. So just feel like this build is the best in Battlegrounds because everybody is using slots in Battlegrounds, even in non-CP campaign. So this build is specifically made for Battlegrounds and in non-CP campaign in Sotha Sil, which is the non-CP campaign. Okay, as you can see, the build name is called Legionnaire. So what comes to mind is 7 Legion. That is the set we'll be using. It's a really powerful set. Gives you close to 500 weapon damage, 488 unbuff for 5 seconds and heal you for about 1.3k health. Can occur every 2 seconds. So it's a quite a okay-ish weapon damage increase and heal over time as well, in my opinion. The only bad thing about this set is the health recovery component. I don't really like the health recovery component, but hey, you're getting so much from the 5th piece, so the 3rd piece bonus it's okay. I can overlook that. What I'm running on 7 Legion is I'm running all on the jewelry. I'll just show you the sword and board first. Sword and board and the jewelry. So I'll be using Nirnhorn trait on the sword, and on the shield I'll be using impenetrable or sturdy trait. Both are really good. Make sure you have maximum stamina enchantment on the shield, and on the sword, on the sword and board bar, basically we'll be using the 2 times poison dot damage. On the jewelry, I'll be using 1 maximum health jewelry with cost reduction, 1 robust with stamina recovery, and 1 infused with weapon damage. So if you don't have gold jewelry, just use robust will work. Infused is decent as well, even with purple jewelry, but I feel like infused is really powerful only on this gold jewelry. So it's up to you. There's an upside and downside. Obviously you have really high weapon damage like me if you're using gold infused jewelry, but then your maximum stamina is a bit low. It's a bit on the lower side, 27k only on a non-CP campaign. What else you can do is you can put both of this. If you have enough transmutation stones, you don't use it robust and healthy on 2 pieces of the jewelry. You can use Trinune instead, which is the tri-stat glyph, health, magicka, and stamina. This Trinune is really powerful for stam stock because you'll be using Dark Deal a lot, Streak a lot. If you use Streak, you'll use Crit Search as well. So I feel like that is really powerful. So what you can use instead of healthy and robust trait, you can use 2 Trinune, and like me on the 3rd piece, if you have a gold or even purple, use infused with weapon damage enchantment. So that is how I like to roll on the jewelry and 7 Legion setup. On the front bar, you can use two options. You can use either a what do you call that, 7 Legion 2-hand greatsword. Make sure you're using greatsword because I feel like greatsword is more powerful because we will use our ultimate on this bar. So I think greatsword is the best. Or you can use like me because I like the poison dot on a merciless charge. The Maelstrom greatsword, basically this is a dot. Why this dot is good is, the only main reason is I'm running this dot is because of crit search. It gives you, the dot can crit. This is not like a proc set. The dot from the weapons can crit, so it gives crit search a better chance to proc even further. So with crit search, you can see it heals you for 3k every 1 second. That is even more than vigor. So this is where we get our crazy heal over time. Now back to the weapon, to the equipment. So either, like I mentioned, greatsword, Maelstrom greatsword, or a 7 Legion greatsword. Both are really powerful. Make sure it's Nirnhorn trait, and I'm using the weapon damage enchantment to push our weapon damage close to, I think it's 4.6, 4.5k on the 2-hand bar, which is insane for non-CP. The second set we'll be using is our defensive set. Obviously, you can't reduce the damage of slot with spell and physical resistance, but it just reduced so much weapon damage, so much incoming damage with this set, 45 breast for non-CP. So I definitely will go for 45 set in non-CP campaign. I'm using heavy on the body and other pieces like the waist, the hands, the legs, and the feet all are in medium pieces. So this is a 6 medium, 1 heavy build. On the big pieces like the body and on the legs, we'll be using tri-stat glyph, and on the small pieces we'll be using maximum stamina glyphs. Preferably you want to use everything impenetrable, but 1 or 2 pieces of well fitted or sturdy is okay as well in non-CP campaign. I have this for my stamina decay if I'm not mistaken, so I'll just use the one pieces well fitted, but doesn't really affect the build that much, because in non-CP campaign people crit less, so impenetrable is kind of valued less a little bit in non-CP campaign, but it's still important to have a good amount, at least I would say 4 or 5 pieces of impenetrable in non-CP campaign. And on the head and shoulders, we'll be using the Monster Helm Throw Kick. This is really powerful, especially when you're lower than 50%. It procs, and you get a really awesome health recovery. Our health recovery will go up to 3.3k without potion buff as an orc. With I would say with different race it might be a bit lower, so you can consider Bloodspawn, but for me I just like Throw Kick. So both with maximum stamina glyphs, enchantment, and both are impenetrable trait. So that's it. That is the setup that I'm using. Obviously you can, if you like slot, you want to go full offensive, you can just drop 7 Legion and run slot. That would work as well. Or you can use 7 Legion on the body, go heavy armor, and use slot. That would be even more offensive. But this build is kind of like to counter the meta, so I won't be using slot on this build at all. Now to the, I'll show you the stats, the tooltips and stats and everything really quickly. Let me just get some damage on this few guys here. Okay, just damage me a bit. Oh, okay, it's proc now. Do light attack. You can see weapon damage is 4.56k on our 2-hand bar, and on our shield bar it should be about 4.3k or so, more or less. Come on, proc. Okay, it's proc now. I do light attack, so it's about 4.28k weapon damage. So let me just kill these mobs. Okay, so I'll buff up. Show you the stats on the physical resistance about 28k, which is a lot, and spell resistance is about 27k more or less. That is really decent. Weapon crit is about 32% on the front bar, and on a sword and board bar, obviously this is our sword and board bar. I'll use a potion. I will show you. I'll use a crit potion here, so you can see with the major savagery buff, the front bar. Remember, this is in a non-CP campaign, so our stats is a bit lower, but you can see on the front bar, resistance is really high. Weapon damage, like I mentioned earlier, 4.5, 4.6k, awesome. Recovery and everything is really decent as well. What else? Yeah, there are a few options for the skills. I'll go through them later, but you need to remember, in non-CP campaign, when you're achieving this 4.5k, 4.3k weapon damage with 32%, 33% weapon crit, that is insane amount of output damage and healing damage. You top that off with Throw King for defense, and 45 brass and a little bit of healing from 7 Legion. That is a lot of heal over time, and with crit surge as well. So this is the build that I would say it's really powerful against a slot user in non-CP campaign. That's why I love this build. I'm playing this build quite often as well. It's just really fun. What else? Yeah, for the Throw King, obviously I can't really show you because this mob damaged me just way too low. So the health recovery you obtain from Throw King is about 3.3k when everything proc as an oct. For other classes it will be about 2.8k, 2.8k or 2.9k or so, which is quite nice as well. So it's really up to you, but I prefer Throw King. I just think Throw King is a really good set in non-CP campaign. Now I will go through the poisons, potions, all those Mundus stones now. The Mundus stone we'll be using is the Warrior Mundus stone. It's just the best in slot Mundus stone in my opinion, if you want to go offensive. The food we'll be using is the drink actually. is this is the best in slot drink for stamina characters, unless you are using Bone Pirate. Then you can't use this with Bone Pirate because this is actually technically a food, not a drink. So it increases health, give you health recovery, which is nice, especially for this build. Stamina recovery and stamina. So overall, just a super awesome drink. It's a bit expensive, but I highly recommend you to use this drink. Really, really powerful. What else? The potions. There are a few potions that I can totally recommend you to use. The obvious one are detection, give you major savagery detection. Tri-set potions are good as well, especially if you're using streak, so you need that magical recovery, and the health, major fortitude from the health component will increases our recovery by a further 20%, which gives us about 30, I think 3.6k or 3.7k health recovery, which is insane. The two potions that I prefer to use is this one, Major Expedition, especially in battlegrounds where you need to run a lot, especially if you are carrying sigils and stuff like that, or you're running away from multiple opponents. Major Immovability, immune to knockback, and Major Expedition is really powerful. And the immune to knockback and major savagery potions are really, really good as well. So this is a super good potion as well. So especially if you're not using the Evil Hunter, I'll show you. If you don't have Evil Hunter, you're using something else that I will mention. There are a few skills like Streak or something else. You can totally use this this potion, give you savagery. And obviously you need your invincible potion in Cyrodiil, just to get away from Zergs. Your lingering health is good, especially against multiple opponents that uses a lot of dots. So this is a burst heal, it gives you major vitality. It's really, really awesome. Speed potion is decent as well. Major speed, give you health recovery. It's quite decent. So those are the potions that I'll be using as a stamina sorcerer. Now the poisons. There are only 2 poisons that I will usually use, maybe 3, but not a lot. The first one is the double dot poison with cost increase. This one I usually don't use this. Usually I'll just use the double poison damage poison. But I crafted this long time ago, and yeah, since I crafted 700 of this, so I'll just use it. It's good against obviously stamina users, and especially against magical users, it is good as well because it increases the cost of break free and the cost of dodge roll. So this poison is actually quite decent. Let me just get away from these monsters here. Okay. The typical poisons that I'll be using is yeah, this one here, the double dot poisons, the 2 times poison damage poison. The duration is longer, so you can it will have a better chance to proc, because poisons can crit, so it has better chance to proc crit surge, which is really nice. They are optionals against different targets. Obviously, like against a magical sorcerer, obviously cost increase poisons is really, really powerful. You can use them if you want. 6 seconds, really powerful against a sorcerer or magical nightblade, something like that. Or against a stamina nightblade, definitely, because stamina nightblade can cloak, and when they cloak, they don't take any dot damage except for slots. So since we are not using slots, this drain stamina poison is good. It gives them major fracture, which reduces their physical recovery, physical resistance, and gives you a good amount of stamina sustain, because it gives you about 238 stamina per second for 3.5 seconds, which is really, really nice. So it's really up to you what kind of poisons you want to use, but the core of the poison, the basic poisons, you can craft like thousands of them, are just the double dot poisons. It's just overall really, really powerful poisons for this build in particular. Yeah, those are the poisons, potions and everything. I think I covered most of them now. The Mundus Stone, the race, I think the best in slot race for this build in particular is Red Guard or Oct. These 2 are the best. Other than that, all the stamina races are decent as well, except for Khajiit and Wudiaf. These 2 I don't recommend you to run. But all the other races that have health recovery is really welcome in this build, because we'll be using Troll King. And we will be using this new Atrium food, so that is really nice. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll go through the skills now. Try to keep this video as short as possible. Reverse slice, I'll execute. This bar is a front bar. It's not changeable. This is what you have to use. Reverse slice, execute. Crit search your dot heal. Stampede your gap close. Dark deal, just to get, your sustain basically is a good heal as well. Forward momentum is your D snare and a dot heal, and your Dawnbreaker is your ultimate, offensive ultimate. Why I'm using Dawnbreaker on a, not on a sword and board bar, but on a 2-hand bar is because you want the Dawnbreaker into execute. That is a way to kill off target fast. So make sure you have your Dawnbreaker on your offensive bar, on your execute bar. Sorry. Those 5 skills are fake. On the sword and board bar, there are 2 slots where you can change around. I'll go through the bread and butter skills first. Your DPS, your debuff, skill ransack, so you can apply major fracture. Reverb bash is your major defile, for you to CC your opponent as well when your Dawnbreaker is not up. Hurricane is obviously the best skill for Stamina Sorcerer, gives you major resolve, major what, minor expedition, and an AoE damage skill as well, so it's really powerful. Make sure you have this skill. This is our flex spot, I'll come to this later. Resolving Vigor is obviously your heal, and Spell Wall is my preferred ultimate. If you're not using Spell Wall, you can use Overload. Overload is good because you can then slot in skills like you don't use often. You can slot in Caltrops. You can, obviously you need your Vigor usually. You can slot in something like Trap Beast. You can slot in different skills, like really interesting skills you can think around. You can slot in Streak, you can slot in just a lot of different skills. So if you're comfortable with using Overload, you can use it, but I prefer Spell Wall personally, because against multiple range target you will take so much damage and you can't dodge so often in non-CB campaign and in Battleground, so Spell Walls is gonna save your ass a lot. The flex spot now, there are 2 skills that I prefer to use, and there are another 2 more skills that is kind of like optional, I would say. I like to use Evil Hunter. Why I like to use Evil Hunter is that I get my crit on my damage bar, on my sword and board bar, and I can use this potion. I can use the speed potion, so I have major and minor expedition. I can run so fast, I can go in and out of the fight very often. That's how I like to play. However, you can use a really underrated skill, Bound Almonds. It is not there's a few changes for this skill since the Summerset patch. If I'm not mistaken, now it is not, you don't need to double bar this skill anymore. You can just put it on 1 bar. So on your sword and board, you will gain increased light attack damage by 11%, and maximum stamina increased by 8%, so that's quite a lot of damage. I would just like to go through the theory part of light attack. Light attack skills, light and heavy attack skills a lot with your weapon damage. So with this build we have like 4.3k, 4.45. On the 2-hand bar we have 4.5, 4.6k weapon damage. With these Bound Almonds, your light attack is going to do so much damage on the sword and board bar, so that's why I like to use Bound Almonds. The cast is not really powerful. It just gives you reduce your block mitigation by 20% for 3 seconds. We don't really block that often on this build, so I won't use the cast on this build often. I'll just put it as like a passive, like Evil Hunter. So it's up to you. You can switch it around depending on what you like. And another thing I like to mention is Bound Almonds will further increase your health and stamina recovery only on this bar. So your health recovery will go even further higher by increase by 20%, and your stamina recovery will get increased by 20% as well, which is really sweet. So Bound Almonds have that advantage. But Evil Hunter, the advantage of Evil Hunter is you just get raw damage. You get crit, 10% crit, which is really nice. You can obtain it from potion, but it gives you the flexibility to run major expedition, and it increases your weapon damage by another 3%. That can further push up your damage on the sword and board bar. And the third skill I can recommend you to use is where is it? Streak or Ball of Lightning. By using Streak or Ball of Lightning, you want to use Tricep Potion because you have already 2 skills, Crit Surge and Dark Deal, that cost a lot of stamina, Magicka, and you don't really have that sustain, so you want to use Tricep Potion. You gain that major fortitude, so it increases your Troll King heal by another 20%, your health recovery, sorry, and overall Tricep Potion will go really well with Ball of Lightning or Streak on this bar. And the last skill I can recommend you to use if you want to be a bit more defensive is One Hand and Shield Defensive Stand. So overall, a really good skill, just give you a lot of that mitigation and blocking, reduce costs for non-CP. It's really powerful. You can even use something like if you are dueling, maybe Trap Beast is really good as well. So those are the skills I would use. Yeah. Negate is optional as well on the back bar. Negate is good if you are playing in certain modes where you need to capture the flag and stuff like that, Negate, you can consider Negate as well, but overall I wouldn't run Negate over Shield Ultimate. So those are the skills. I think I covered most of the stuff already. I just want to go through the CP super quickly. I know this is a non-CP build. I'll just let you know what I run in the CP campaign, my CP setup. 11 Siphoner, 51 Warlord, 3 Bashing Focus, 49 Mooncalf, 15 Tenacity, 34 Befoul, 56 Tumbling, 31 Shadow Ward, 32 Bless, and then here 6 Physical Weapon Expert, 20 Shattering Blows, 72 Master at Arms, 51 Precise Strikes, 49 Mighty, 20 Piercing, 70 Resistance, 7 Medium Armor Focus, 66 Ironclad, 31 Thick Skin, 49 Hardy, 43 Elemental Defender, and 37 Quick Recovery. So those are the CP that I'm using. As for the combo, it is really straightforward. Like usual, you just want to buff up yourself, especially with Hurricane. That's the most important buff. You get close in, do light attack, switch your buff. You debuff them with Fracture, then you CC them. If they are lower than 40% or 50%, you can go into Dawnbreaker. If they are not as low, they are healing up, they are dodging, you go into offense. You make sure your your Hurricane is still up, you put up pressure on them, make sure the poison is on them. The moment they have less than 50% health, you can always switch into your front bar, do light attack, Dawnbreaker, and then need to execute. So that is how I like to run. The first CC you want to use on your Revert Bash is just to debuff them. So you want to make sure that they use some stamina to break free, and you want to pressure them a bit. And when you are going for the killing blow, you don't want to CC them before, you want to just go into the front bar, light attack into Dawnbreaker, and then execute. So they take the full damage from the CC of Dawnbreaker. Obviously if they're blocking a lot, then you want to break their block with Revert first before you go into Dawnbreaker, because you don't want them to block your Dawnbreaker. But if they're not blocking a lot, especially in non-CP campaign, they can't really block that much, you want to use the CC from Dawnbreaker. Alright, so this is the build. If you have any questions, just throw inside the comments below. I'll go through them as much as possible, and I'll see you guys in Battlegrounds and in Cyrodiil. Oh yeah, by the way, I'll just post some of the gameplay. I'll just go play some Battlegrounds, and I'll just post some of the gameplay so you can see how this build function by the end of the video. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in Cyrodiil. Bye bye.